Shining Armor, Zecora, A True Love by Switched Out. Ever since Zecora had moved to Ponyville, but mostly staying in the every forest, she had actually didn't felt lonely. But every time she went into town to buy some items that she needed, or selling some of the potions which she had made for ponies there, she always seeing many other pony friends there having the special song pony, but at some point there, she felt very depressed. Even some of her closest friends, Twilight, Rarity, and Applejack, they didn't have any special song pony yet, and she could relate to that. But they seemed to be happy even to be single. But one day, when she actually went into town to selling some potions to the spa, she actually ran into Applejack with a stallion. She knows that stallion by the name Caramel, but it turns out Caramel was actually Applejack's boyfriend. They have been dating for about maybe a few days, and then someday she ran into Flash Sentry with Twilight, and then she realized all her friends had some special song pony, and now they were busy with the school and that they had their families to take care of and they have boyfriends. She probably thought they would never had any time to spend with her anymore, or or perhaps just going over to her visit to ask for medical advice if the doctors couldn't even find anything. So Zecora started to spend less time in town. When she was going to sell some potions or go to buy some food, she went straight to market and straight back home and didn't socialize with any of the other opponents. She felt even more depressed that she seems to be losing all her friends. And Zecora had actually been feeling like that for only a few months. But lately, Twilight had noticed how much depressed or even seems lonely Zecora had been, and she felt guilty not to have been surrounding her some time with her friend, only for maybe asking for some advice. But then she decided to spend time with Zecora. But one day when she came to Zecora's home, she knocked on the door and found a note on the door. It says that Zecora wasn't wanting to come home for the next couple of days because she was away to collect some other herbs she needed. So Twilight went home, but she even called her friends over for some meeting. The others didn't know much about what was going on until Twilight told them that Zecora has seemed to be felt distantly. She hasn't been much in town. All the time that she gets there, she always gets home fast and doesn't talk to any other ponies there, right in front of those on the market. But most of the others has been so busy lately, so they haven't even paid much attention to it. Except for Fluttershy, she has only been to Zecora's home more frequently or more regularly because she has to take care of her animal friends, and she often goes to Zecora for help for animals who could just go to the vet because some of the vet are often occupied with other patients. So then she went to Zecora for help, and Zecora is just happy to help her. But lately she had also noticed how much Zecora hasn't been as much open, happy that she usually. Every time that she leaves, she seems as the smile suddenly disappeared into sadness. She tried to cheer up her by telling her some stories about what's going on, but it didn't seem to work. So only a few days later, Applejack and Twilight went back to see the note was gone and Zecora's home. They went in, and Zecora was actually doing some of her potions. Applejack and Twilight start talking to Zecora and talking about how things going on with her seems to be a bit distant. Zecora didn't mind talking about things. She was very open about those anything. She didn't lie or anything. But much of from her time being alone, she had noticed herself that she didn't feel healthy anymore. And she had been thinking maybe that she wanted to move back home to her original homeland. And Twilight took that as a big surprise, even Applejack was shocked. But she said that she wasn't really haven't decided if she was going to stay or just going to visit her home just from time to time or just stay there. She asked if there was anything that could help her to stay, asked Twilight. But Zecora didn't know exactly what to do. But then Applejack came up with an idea. Why don't they invite Zecora for a party at the farm and invite some other stallions who is single? Maybe she could have try to mingle with some of the ponies there and perhaps finding a match. Zecora was first very much not against the idea, but she didn't want to do it because she didn't want to feel interrupted by some of the ponies' life, daily works. But Zecora said that she didn't want to stop doing anything else. But Zecora was actually very interested in the idea at first, but at the same time she didn't want to make any promises if she wanted to find any of those stallions connected to. But she agreed to do it. So Applejack and Twilight says that they will know telling her when this party is going to happen, and she will just going to wait. Applejack and Twilight went straight back to the castle where others were still waiting. They talked for maybe a few hours about how this party is going to be, what it's going to eat, how this decoration is going to be, but there was just one other thing. Stallions. There were only a few stallions left in town who were still single. And that was just a problem. There were only maybe 5 to 6 stallions. Only then it was a big problem. One of them was actually Big Mac, but he was actually starting the story for only time in dating Sugar Belle, so that means he was at the table. But then what about Discord? Asked Apple Rainbow. But that was the after question as well, because they were only looking for stallions. So, well, then Applejack, what about Shining Armor? The others was quiet. Twilight had totally forgot about her older brother, who hasn't been single ever since he became the captain of the Royal Guard in Candlewood. They are frequently talking about each other over letters or visits, but she had totally forgot about her big brother. And she will remember that he actually going to have a permission leave from his duties within the next week. So they decided why not they started the party next week when he has a time off, so he can be there and perhaps seeing if he can be connected to Zecora. Even though Rarity said that was just one small chance to happen, but Twilight said there's the only way we can find out. So they actually started trying to find out those stallions to invite them. But apparently all the other stallions they thought was single turns out to be already taken. Some actually had moved to Maidhaven, so they were not so much to ask for, but the other few of those remain, they actually have been seeing some pony. So that means there were only one available Shining Armor. So that was the much for the big party for Zecora. The others have a meeting, except for Twilight, who went to Candlewood to see her brother. Shining Armor at the same time hasn't been, as she has said to his friends, that he has been single for all this time. Except that he had actually been a few days with one of the other noble class opponents there, even some of the female royal guards, but not much too serious. Even then her his own parents has been really suspicious that if he's not going to settle down, start a family of his own. But that was what he wanted to do. He wanted to have a family, but he didn't felt any connection to any of those mayors he had been dating. And he was surprised to see that Twilight was over for a visit, and they talked for maybe 2 hours, and then he was surprised that they want to have a party for especially for Zecora to find her stallion. And Zecora was actually very happy with hearing about that idea first. Then she wanted to see if Shining Armor wanted to come over for this party, and he even asked how many stallions would be coming. Twilight said at first they were planning to at least have 5 other stallions, including him, but it turns out he will be only one who coming. And Shining Armor was very surprised why he suddenly used him. Twilight explained some had actually moved from Ponyville to Maidhaven, others have been always since started seeing him on Pony, so there was only him and Reigns. So Shining Armor thinks, alright, give it a try. So the next week, when he came to Ponyville, Zecora was surprised to see that only Shining Armor, even though she was being informed by Applejack and Fluttershy only a few days earlier, turns out, even though the parties didn't seem so well, the main Twilight and her friends were also there just to spread out the party. Even Big Mac and Sugar Belle also there. And the party seems to be going well, except from the part that Shining Armor and Zecora didn't speak much. They were standing almost across along that side, across the barn. They didn't have any other things to talk about. But Twilight said at least go up to talk to her about something. So Shining Armor did. And turns out this party was going well. Zecora was talking to Shining Armor, and they started laughing, and he started laughing, and it seems going well. So after the party was over, Shining Armor remained at the farm with Big Mac to talk about this, about some comics, about how to be strong, how to relate to family, some of those things. But Zecora didn't leave either. She was actually staying there only for about a bit longer, talking to Sugar Belle. Sugar Belle and Zecora have been very close friends for about a couple of weeks, and they have been actually very good friends, helping each other for the things that she needed. But then Zecora had been asked by Sugar Belle what she thinks about Shining Armor. Zecora didn't say much except that she likes him, that he's very brave, that he's very strong, very handsome. And Sugar Belle then asked if she would date Shining Armor. And she didn't first not want to answer, but she said yes and started blushing. And even Shining Armor could hear that. He even walked up to her and then asked her out. She didn't know what to answer except for yes. So Shining Armor and Zecora started dating that the same week. Twilight was just happy to see that her brother had at least find some point to date, and hoping this could last much longer. Even though that he has only a week relieved from his duties, she tried to ask Celestia if he could have some bit longer relief time, and Celestia agrees for another week. But that was the only time she could spare for Shining Armor. So during the time when Shining Armor were in Ponyville, he actually spent a lot of time with Zecora, even some time with his sister. He even helped Zecora at her home with some great potions, even collect some herbs that she needed. It seems they're going well, really well between them. And Twilight then asked Shining Armor what he thinks about Zecora, if he could see in future with her. And as Zecora, Shining Armor said that it's too early to know for sure if he had seen any more possible future with her, but he wished for it could happen, since they only been dating for about only 2 weeks. And of course, Shining Armor didn't wish that he could stay a bit longer. Even he tried to ask Celestia for another week, or perhaps a little longer, but she couldn't spare much time because he needed in Canton during their regular trainings and exercise with the guards. But he actually going to see Shining Armor and Zecora during Hearthwarming Eve, which is going to be the next 2 months. And of course, Shining Armor was happy to see that Zecora was willing to celebrate it with his family for the first time. While back in Canterlot, Shining Armor had informed his parents that he had been seeing this particular pony, or zebra, by the name Zecora. And they had actually been heard about Zecora from Twilight. They'd even seen pictures about her together with Twilight and her friends. And they were actually so very impressed how well in knowledge she is in medicine, in nature, and how that they've been described how she talks in rhymes, which is very unique for especially for they. But they were just happy for their son, at least had some special something. And during those 2 months that passed, Zecora was very looking forward to celebrate the first Hearthwarming Eve with Shining Armor and his family. At first, she was very nervous how this meeting was going to end well, but luckily for she had Twilight there as support. She was also going there, and Zecora was actually very happy to celebrate this first Hearthwarming Eve with Shining Armor, which now she called her boyfriend. Soon, this entire news of that Shining Armor was dating Zecora had been public known for about the two past months. And of course, Zecora was the first again was afraid that some point he was going to think this relationship was bad because he's a captain and that she's a medical, or at least some sort of that she is a very much skilled in medicine, like a doctor or a witch doctor or something, and that she is a nature doctor and that she's a captain of the Royal Guard. That wouldn't even work out. But they proved them all the ponies wrong. It did actually work. They were actually fit like together. And they worked out the simple things together, and they saw each other even then for perhaps a few weeks, and during the holidays, the only time they could see much for a long time. Even though that Zecora actually went for Twilight sometimes to Canterlot so that she could see Shining Armor a bit more often. And that actually worked. And after only about 5 years being together, Shining Armor actually proposed to Zecora. And Zecora was very happy to be married with Shining Armor. They actually had this big wedding in Canterlot only about a week later. And they had their honeymoon at a tropical island for 2 weeks. And then, 3 years later, both of them announced to the Shining Armor's family that they are going to be parents. They first had a son, which ended up to be a zebra, and then they had twin daughters who actually became 2 unicorns like their father. And that's how Zecora and Shining Armor from the True Love got a big family. The end.